Welcome to a new series on classic country backstories entitled Classic Album Review. I'm Jim Gallagher and I'll be your host as we take a look at some of the greatest country albums ever recorded. Let's get this thing rolling with one of my personal favorites, Waylon Live. Waylon Arnold Jennings, born June 15, 1937 in Littlefield, Texas. Passed away at the age of 64 in Chandler, Arizona on February 13, 2002. He was an American country music singer, songwriter, musician, and actor. He is considered one of the pioneers of the outlaw movement in country music. He rose from poverty in West Texas to become Buddy Holly's bassist. Then he went from Nashville rebel to outlaw star. His big break came when Buddy Holly hired Jennings to play bass in his new band on a tour throughout the Midwest in late 1958 and early 1959. Jennings gave up his seat on an ill-fated flight that would claim the lives of Buddy Holly, J.P. Richardson, and Ritchie Valens. During the 1970s, Waylon helped pioneer the outlaw country movement with Willie Nelson, Tom Paul Glazer, and Jesse Coulter. He recorded country music's first platinum album entitled Wanted, The Outlaws. It was followed by another platinum album, a first for any solo artist in country music, entitled Ol' Waylon, and the hit song was Lukenbach, Texas. You may remember him as the balladeer on the TV series The Dukes of Hazzard, composing and singing its theme song and narrating the show. He joined the country supergroup The Highwaymen with Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, and Johnny Cash, which released 3 albums between 1985 and 1995. His awards included Male Vocalist of the Year in 1975, Album of the Year in 1976 with Wanted, The Outlaws, Single of the Year, The Highwaymen in 1985, and in 2001 he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Waylon Live, released on RCA Victor in December of 1976, the album was actually recorded in 1974 over 3 dates while Waylon was in Texas. September 25th at the Western Palace in Dallas, Texas, and September 26th and 27th at the Opry House in Austin, Texas. It all started when Waylon became disillusioned with the lackluster sound of his studio recordings. Especially when compared to his live shows, he began demanding the right to record the Wailers and produce his own records. And by 1972, RCA, regretting the loss of Willie Nelson to Atlantic and under siege from Waylon's new manager, Neil Reshen, gave in. Tracks on the album read like a greatest hits album. T for Texas, the Jimmy Rogers tune. Rainy Day Woman, I'm a Ramblin' Man, written by Ray Pennington. Bob Wills is Still the King. Good-Hearted Woman, Me and Bobby McGee, and Waylon's first #1, This Time. Credits on the album included on bass guitar, Duke Goff, on drums, Richie Albright. The recording engineer was Al Pachuki. Guitar, Billy Ray Reynolds. On harmonica, Rod Crabtree. The illustration, the cover illustration, was done by Jim Osborne. It was mastered by Randy Kling. Producer, Ray Pennington. On a side note, Ray was also a famous songwriter. He penned Waylon's big hit, Ramblin' Man, and he also founded Step One Records. Also as producer and on guitar, Waylon Jennings. Rhythm guitar, Larry Whitmore. Steel guitar, Ralph Mooney. And the recording technician, George Bennett. Now, according to Rich Kinzel's liner notes for the 2003 expanded edition, Jennings had originally planned on releasing a double album, but the idea was dropped simply because double albums were not considered viable in country music, although they were very popular in rock music. Live albums were a big thing around the year 1975, but some were not truly, quote, live, as a lot of bands and musicians went back in the studio and, quote, overdub mistakes. Waylon Live is the real deal. Live albums released that year that sold pretty well included Kiss Alive, Frampton Comes Alive, Peter Frampton, An Evening with John Denver, and Gene Shepard, Live at Good Time Country. In 1999, a revised CD version of Waylon Live restored the 9 extra tracks like Waylon had wanted, including the outlaw anthem, Lonesome, Ornery, and Mean. An expanded 2-CD edition was released in November of 2006. 20 unissued cuts had been added for a total of 40 tracks on the album, which is kind of the way Waylon wanted it in the beginning. Waylon Live hit number 1 on the Billboard Country Albums chart and number 46 on the Pop Albums chart, and was later certified gold. If you've enjoyed this episode of Classic Album Review on Classic Country Backstories, be sure and like the video, leave us a comment telling us what album you want us to review, and subscribe to the channel. And as Colleen says, God bless, and I'll see you later.